technology. I I seem to just have this. I have too many devices, and I don't have everything attached. That's the problem. I just have so much stuff. I've got two laptops with multiple accounts, multiple Hotmail and Outlook accounts. Just it's just chaos. So I can't connect a video from this phone to anything. I can't get it out. It fails when I go to upload it on OneDrive. It fails when I move it onto CapCut. It fails because it's too big to email, and then I try and link them, and I can't get them to link. It's just frustrating. I'm completely frustrated because I have a fun video from this afternoon that I just cannot get to upload. So I'm going to have to figure out how to get direct links from this phone to because I can't, like if I use the GoPro, it's easy. I can just take the little SD card out of the GoPro, put it right in the computer in, there it is, it downloads. But how to get large files off my phone is beyond me at the moment. So I'm going to have to work on that because I worked for quite some time tonight trying to get this video downloaded and I failed miserably. I'm a complete Luddite, I guess. I thought I knew how to do this, but I could not get this off this phone. I got into CapCut. I got it edited. I can't put it on because it's not connected to the account that this YouTube is on. And I can't, and it's just, damn it. I'll figure it out. I'll get it done by tomorrow, but it's a fun video. Oopa! Because, we have to break shit. Break shit, move fast. Move fast, break shit. Run fast, break shit. Move fast, break shit. Do fast, break shit. That was the theme. That was the theme. So we broke shit. How's everybody doing tonight? I changed. If you noticed, there was a changed photograph tonight. Ever got Google? Hi, Todd. Yes, I tried Google Drive, but it's this one laptop, the one that's right here, is a Outlook account. And this one is a Google account. They're not connected. And it's just a mess. It's just a mess. That's all. I couldn't get to upload to one. I'm like, oh, just use OneDrive. It's like fail. I'm like, God bless this. Why is it not working? Anyway, I'll figure it out. I was rushed because I'm trying to get it done, trying to do the research, trying to do this, have some food, take a shower, finish painting, deal with my finger that's just absolutely killing me still. It is definitely swollen. If you look, it's definitely got like a thicker thing and the skin's all swollen and puffy. And yeah, I did wake up a couple times last night because I must have rolled on it. I woke up like, ow, my finger hurts. Like, did that just wake me up? So yeah, it's not a joyous thing. So I'm not excited that I smashed my finger or had my finger smashed by Paul yesterday. It happens. But anyway, I had a great day. Went out to breakfast with some old friends and went out to dinner, I guess. It was sort of a late lunch dinner with other friends. And we talked about all sorts of good stuff. I think everyone will benefit from the good stuff. That's the hopes. But yes, so if you noticed, my header card was different tonight. I edited it, so it wasn't the normal Randy Malloy, the guy in the van. It was a edited photograph from a short video intro of an old intro to Randsanity videos of me in front of the dumpster. And that's actually on fire. So the dumpster's really on fire. It's not CGI or any kind of AI. It's actually burning. How we did it, I've done that twice. We rendered that twice. What we did was we made sure the dumpster was completely empty. We did it after a day when the dumpster was emptied. And then I took a 2x4 and cut it to the length of the dumpster. Then wrapped it in tin foil, completely wrapped it in tin foil, and stuck coat hangers on either end of it. So it hung just inside the metal lip of the dumpster. So just down below it. And then I took tin foil again and I made like a single long piece. I made a little trough. Like as wide as the 2x4 and just about this and just fill it with gasoline. and then had someone stand off camera with a fire extinguisher just in case. Not that it's metal, it's not going to burn, and then basically lit it on fire and shut the video. And it burned in black smoke and looked cool for a couple of seconds, and then just died down very quickly as the gas evaporated and burned away. So I've done that a couple of times. I'm sure it's we've always been like, police driving by, fire department driving by, because there's a fire station that was, I don't know, quarter of a mile away from the old radio station building. So if they drove by often, I could see them driving by and being like, what's going on here? Fire? I'd be like, no, just a stunt, just a prop. Nothing's on fire. We're okay. It's a metal dumpster. There's nothing inside of it. Please don't arrest me for arson. I don't need that on my permanent record. Arson would not be one of those. So anyway, okay, so things I need to discuss. One, there's that. Heinz, right there. So go watch it. Go make comments. I will look at it tonight after this, I promise. So if there's new comments, I'll comment on the comments. Again, just ask for me, because they're posting shorts on Instagram. So they must be trying to push the agenda again. So the Instagram ones, they aren't showing me because they're shortened ones. They're showing Stephen He. They're not showing the driver. So we need to go back to the old school ones that they did on YouTube and be like, hey, feed Randy. Where's Randy? More Randy. So push that agenda. So see if we can get them to spend money and sponsor. If not, we'll find other people. Also, likes, hit the likes button. There's a like button. So I need to get engagement. So work on the likes and use your notifications button so you get notified when I'm going to do a video. That way you don't miss it. That also helps engagement, because I have to sign up all this stuff for YouTube, which, holy shit, there's a lot to read. I was like, okay, let's go look at AdSense tonight. I'm like, what the boop? Like, wow, there's a lot. Page after page after page after page after page after page of stuff. I'm like, and they're like, you have to fix issues. I'm like, I don't know if I have that much life left to fix issues. I mean, I have a lot of issues. And I'm not exactly a spring chicken in my 20s anymore. I don't have decades to fix issues. I need to fix those issues quickly. So, yeah, I was like, that's a lot of reading. So I need to go find a way to fix issues, because it said I have issues. And I'm like, that's kind of a personal attack, isn't it? I barely know you, YouTube, and you're telling me I have issues? I'm like, fuck you. Anyway, episode 162 days of this Randsanity stuff. I have things. It's November the 9th, 2025. I have things. So Heinz, notifications, likes for engagement. So all of that stuff. We have to do that stuff. I'm going to make a script so I remember to do these things on my screen above my head that you also can't see. It looms at me now because it's not lit up. I don't have it plugged in. So there's this giant black rectangle. It's like a 33-inch LG monitor that's like right here that I'm looking at now. So without it turning on, it's like this black void that just kind of stares at me, which I'm not, it was easier when there was stuff behind us, like backpacks for like cameras and like equipment and stuff. But now there's just like this rectangular black void that I'm like, not thrilled about. So I have to make sure I use it, engage it, and somehow connect to it. With a third laptop, that's exactly what I do. I'm going to put a third laptop up there, so I'll have another one in front of me for more things to screw up during the show. Fire Department Defense, there's a good chance you were up to some shady shit. It's true. I was definitely up to shady shit. I mean, Todd, that's kind of like the nature of my business. Okay, the radio station was always shady shit. I mean, we were guerrillas. I mean, with no money, we had to figure out how to do everything by the seat of our pants. I mean, it was a startup at the most basic of concepts. I mean, we put 18-year-olds in uncomfortable positions of authority. Hey, you've never done this before, but go ahead and work this event and tell me all the stuff you did afterwards and evaluate it. And, that would empower them. But, we had to go do stuff that was definitely, it wasn't that it wasn't on the up and up, but it was definitely, shady because it was guerrilla marketing. Well, we can get away with this. We'll ask for forgiveness, not for permission. That was sort of one of our mantras, ask for forgiveness, not for permission. Because most likely someone is like, no, you can't do that. You can't light your dumpster on fire. Well, I'm just lighting like the edge of it on fire. You can't do that. Well, we lit on fire. It was just a little thing. You guys shouldn't have done that. Well, we didn't burn anything down. We won't do it again. Sorry. Right. See, much easier. Sorry. A little contrition, and we were genuinely sorry when we got caught for things that we did. We'd admit it. Oh, well, we didn't think that would be a bad thing. We didn't think it would be a good thing, but we didn't think it would be a bad thing or an illegal thing. And, it was a radio station, so we got away with a lot of stuff. There was a lot of leeway for a radio station, lots of leeway. There was only a couple times that we had interactions with the police that were semi-negative. And usually they were 99% positive. I think one of the funniest times ever, just to kind of go off the rail for a second, we were coming back from I think it was a tailgate party or a football game or a concert, something at Ohio State University. And we were driving back down south. And a bunch of people piled into the ice cream truck, like 15 people in the ice cream truck. There was like 4 or 5 staffers and a bunch of just randos that were like, sure, we'll get in. And I was like, pile in. And we were headed down south and driving on Summit Street. Summit is south. Near Wyland Park, there's a road that has a jog to it, like a left. You kind of can go left, right, and kind of cut across the street. And I remember we were driving and we're going the street and suddenly like a cop juts out of the left, right, and like turns the wrong way at us and turns his lights on. So I'm like, oh crap. He gets out of the car and comes right to like walking right to the driver's side window. And people in the truck are just random people are freaking out like, oh my God. And the cop's like, hey, we've been looking for you all day. And I'm just like, okay. He goes, where's my free shit? I was like, what? He goes, we listen to you guys at the gym all the time. Hey, I want some free shit. And I was like, oh my God. And I mean, it wasn't like 3 seconds later and I'm getting pelted in the back of the head, like with everything that was in the back of the, like t-shirts and like stickers and stuff like literally hitting me and like landing on the dashboard and stuff. And everyone's just like laughing and the cops like, I'm like, here's a bunch of free stuff for you and the guys at the gym. He's like, love you guys, gets back in the car, makes like an illegal U-turn and takes off. And I'm just kind of look back like, the fuck was that? But I mean, that was kind of the way it was, so yes, shady for sure. Shady shit. No question. It happened all the time. But in my defense, it was, part of the job. We had to kind of be a little shady. Again, it was guerrilla marketing. We were a small radio station with no budget to do anything, no money to do anything. So, you had to be creative. So yeah, we definitely got creative. Anyway, let's see. So, Hines we did, notifications we did, and we talked ever so slightly about, oh crap, wrong thing. Sorry, I was trying to find something that I was trying to pull up that I could get because it's right here. There you go. For engagement. So, random stuff. Remember, it goes from decade to decade, no particular order because of where I find this stuff and how I find it. And for some reason, like the first whole section this evening, right now, is Beatles. So a bunch of it. It starts with, in 1961 on this day, November the 11th, the Beatles meet future manager Brian Epstein in a lunchtime performance, at the Cavern Club in Liverpool. Now, I want more lunchtime performances. That's what I want. I want to be able to go to see concerts at lunchtime. I mean, if you can go see the Beatles at lunchtime, why can't we go see something else at lunchtime? That's what I miss. When we did big rooms, we did that all the time because we would have the bands that would come into town before they would go play a show that night or their sound check. So they'd come in and do 3 songs at the middle of the day. But there isn't anybody doing that. I want those. That was such a fun thing. We had a cool amount of people that would come, 25 to 50 people in this little intimate setting to see like a major rock star to do a lunchtime show. I think that was one of the coolest things that we did, to do these big room performances that let the audience have this connection with their favorite band up close and personal. Because sometimes they'd be going to the show that night and sometimes they didn't. They couldn't afford the tickets or whatever. So I want more lunchtime shows. So we're going to have to figure out more lunchtime shows, how to do that. That's going to have to be a mission at some point, lunchtime shows. But anyway, so Paul McCartney did play last night. I did not buy the $300 obstructed view behind the stage ticket, or the $500 to $800 regular ticket, or the $3,000 to $4,000 scalped floor seats. Yeah, no, that wasn't going to happen. Even if I could afford it, I probably wouldn't. I'd have to really be able to afford it to spend that much money on a concert ticket, because that seems ridiculous when I can just listen to it. So the set list, I did get the set list. So we opened with Help, played Coming Up, Gotta Get You Into My Life, Drive My Car, Letting Go, Come On To Me, Let Me Rock It, Getting Better, Let 'Em In, My Valentine, 1985, Maybe I'm Amazed, I've Just Seen a Face, In Spite of All the Danger. We're about halfway through. Love Me Do, Dance Tonight, Blackbird, Here Today, Now and Then, Lady Madonna, Jet, The Benefit of Mr. Kite, Something, Obla Di Obla Da, Band on the Run, Get Back, Let It Be, Live and Let Die, and Hey Jude. And then for his encore, I've Got a Feeling, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band, Helter Skelter, Golden Slumbers, Carry the Weight, and The End. Bam! 2 hours and 55 minutes. Sir Paul McCartney still doing it at 82. Now, I went back and compared this set list to when I saw them in 2015 at Lollapalooza. It was really similar. There was some changes, but it was a pretty much set list of what he did. So that apparently is his repertoire. Because I went back and looked. So there's only a couple of tweaks he does over the years, but his sets are pretty much there. So that's what he does. So he's going to play actually tomorrow night, the 11th, or in 2 nights. He's going to be in Pittsburgh doing the same thing. It looks like the set list will be the same. So there you go. So go listen to those things. I just saved you $500. 1968, Joe Cocker version of the Beatles, With a Little Help from My Friend, went and became #1 single in the UK. So he went ahead and covered that and became a #1 hit. Good old Joe Cocker. In 1973, Ringo Starr of the Beatles had his 3rd single, which was Ringo in the UK, and it was 1 week after his release in the US. This was Ringo Starr's biggest commercial and critical success, with 3 single hits on it: Photograph, You're 16, and Oh My My. Now, I did listen to the lyrics of You're 16. I'm like, okay, 1973. All right, I'm just going to let that go. Probably less appropriate now that you listen to the lyrics many years later. I just am saying. 1973, Columbia Records released Piano Man. Promo Man, what the hell? Piano Man by Billy Joel, his 2nd studio album. Yes, I did not find a pen that I liked. I did buy a couple, but I found the one to be sketchy and it didn't write. I needed it to be smooth and rolly. This one was catchy and felty, and it was like bleeding through the paper. And I was like, nope, this one doesn't work. So I went back to my old pen, which I still hate. I need to go find that. I had one that was like really nice roller ball, and it went really smooth. And I can kind of just like swirl and write quickly, and that way I don't screw up my penmanship, my cursive that I've perfected so well. 2006, on this date, the 11/9 of 06, David Bowie performed for the final time ever on stage. Bowie played at a charity benefit in New York City at the Hammerstein Ballroom. The last songs he ever sung in public were Wild in the Wind, Fantastic Voyage, and Changes with Alicia Keys. Bowie died 10 years later, releasing his last album only days before he left us. Good old David Bowie. There's a picture of me when I got to meet Bowie at a concert once. He was very, very nice, but he was very quiet, very sort of demure, like, it's nice to meet you. It's nice to meet you. Hello. Like, very proper, very English. It was just, and it was with everybody. He just was very, happy to take pictures, but just very proper. Seemed very English. It was very funny. Because I was like, all right, I didn't think he was going to be very boisterous, but yes, he was very demure in that respect. It's very nice to meet you. It was like, okay, nice to see David Bowie. Very cool. 1984, Nightmare on Elm Street is released. Wes Craven's horror film with our friend Freddy Krueger, when it's slashing us in our dreams. I think I will have a Freddy Krueger dream tonight about that crappy sweater, just because, he was that way. He affected you. He fell into your dreams. It's like Inception. You just dream in a dream. If you die in your dream, you die in real life. So don't ever die in your dreams. That's not how it works. You don't want to die in real life. In 2023, after 118 days on strike, the actors and actresses agreed with SAG-AFTRA, their union, to go ahead and make some concessions about AI generations and Hollywood sharing streaming compensation royalties. Let's see how that's worked out for them. I mean, they knew it was coming. They saw it was going to happen, and it's definitely here. AI is definitely a thing. You look at a lot of videos now, if I'll skim through Instagram, a lot of them, you sort of have to sort of take at face value. When you see an eagle pick up a dog, it's fake. If you see a tiger attack someone, it's fake. If you see any kind of an animal video that you're just like, wow, that looks, oh my God, that's terrible, that someone says, you're like, yeah, you're a chump because it's fake. None of this is real, and it's getting harder and harder to determine what it is, these really good fakes. So yeah, we're going to get to a point where it's going to have to be only authenticated by it being, live, or, heaven forbid, in person. You'll have to actually have interactions with another human being, not in a way that, you're meeting them through photographs. Like, I met you in person at a coffee shop. You are actually that person. Just saying. I mean, I know that's hard. Personal interactions. Well, watch out. I'm hitting the Death Star. I don't want to knock down the Yellow Submarine again. 1955, 2023, 1955. Usually when there's a transition like that, it's only because that means it's a different source. So it's a different place that I found that information. I don't usually find, it's usually chronological the place, but I just don't take Site A, Site B, Site C, and kind of condense them together, because that would take more time than I have to go back and leave big spaces. And screw it. It's just information. It doesn't really matter if it's timely or not. 1955, the Everly Brothers made their first single recording. They did 4 tracks in 22 minutes. They got a chance to get in with Columbia Records, and they got signed in 1956. However, their first and only single with Columbia Records was a complete and absolute total flop, and Columbia Records summarily dumped them immediately, and that was the last song they ever recorded for Columbia Records. I mean, sure, hey, your song's not great, we're not going to keep you. Get out. 1958, Elvis the King. Hound Dog exceeded 3 million copies sold in the U.S., becoming only the 3rd single to do so. Now remember, this was 1958, so this is talking about the times of 1958 to do so, because the only other 2 were Bing Crosby, White Christmas, and Gene Autry, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. So that's pretty auspicious that Elvis, you beat basically 2 Christmas songs. Hey, rock and roll was in its infancy in 1958. So you got to give Elvis, some credit for being able to almost beat Gene Autry, the singing cowboy, and Bing Crosby, the orange beating crooner. 1967, the first issue of Rolling Stone magazine. Crap. Damn it. I didn't even see that one coming, Todd. That was complete just failure. Didn't even see that one coming. And I was looking right at the camera at that moment. So pilot error. The heater's not going off tonight because I did remember to turn that off. I almost forgot to turn it back on again last night. But right before I went to bed, I'm like, wait, I haven't heard the heater go on. I'm like, oh, wait, I need to turn that on again. Or again, I wake up and the house is like 50 degrees. And I'm like, oh, things are frozen. Plants are dead. The dog's looking at me like, dude, what's going on? Why are we outside? Anyway, the first issue of Rolling Stone magazine was published on this day, the 9th of November, 1967, in San Francisco, California. It featured a picture of John Lennon on the cover, dressed in army fatigues, just after finishing filming his movie, How I Won the War. The name of this, the magazine, came, I guess, from the compilation of three significant sources: Muddy Waters, his song, the first rock and roll record by Dylan, and the Rolling Stones. I didn't understand the significance of the first two because the Rolling Stones band, it's Rolling Stones magazine. So I don't know how Muddy Waters or Bob Dylan got involved in that. On the cover of the Rolling Stone, I don't know. But with the first issue, they did include a roach clip for your marijuana cigarettes. So, that's a good swag promo item. That's guerrilla marketing at its finest right there. Is that a little bit of shady shit? Absolutely. We're giving out roach clips. We're not promoting drug use, but if you are so inclined to partake in such things, here, make it convenient. Don't burn your fingers. That's how you look at it. So that's guerrilla marketing at its finest. Buy a magazine, get them, your evening is complete. Yeah, I know. I understand, Todd. It happens, okay? I was looking right at the damn thing. I was told, someone told me that there is software programming that we may be able to put into the Nikon to make it not do that. So I will be looking into that. If I can make that happen, then I will stop disappointing you, Todd, and I will stop making your evening so, because I won't have that problem anymore. Because this camera doesn't ever do it. I don't understand why that camera doesn't do it. They're, I believe, identical cameras. The only difference is the lenses, and I think I have them at the exact same setting. So this camera shouldn't go off when this one never goes off. Don't understand. So we'll see if I can figure it out. But it would be lovely if it didn't do that. That way I don't have to deal with Todd giving me grief over this. They even heard the roach crip. Oh, man. Wow. Oh, I'm just going to let that go completely. 1968, Led Zeppelin played their first London show when they appeared at the Roundhouse Chalk Barn on the same bill as John Lee Hooker. Lead singer Robert Plant was earlier that day married to his girlfriend Maureen. It just said Maureen. I couldn't find her last name in the article I was reading. But anyway, they then celebrated their wedding reception at the gig. I mean, he was maximizing. I've already got to be here. It's already going to be a party. We'll just throw our wedding reception here at the gig. I mean, it's something I would do. Why not? Combine the two together. It's built-in party, built-in entertainment. Save a few bucks, buy a few more drinks. It seems like a win-win. Synergies. 1968, Simon and Garfunkel recorded what would become their signature song, Bridge Over Troubled Water. Now, apparently, Art Garfunkel wanted Paul Simon to sing the song, but Paul insisted Art's voice was better suited for it. It was a decision, apparently, that Paul would come to regret years later. I wanted to know why. I could not find why he regretted it. It did win 5 Grammys in 1971, including Song of the Year and Record of the Year. So maybe it was he wanted to be the one who got the Grammy for Song of the Year and Record of the Year. That's the only thing I could consider that, shit, I handed away a golden ticket to this guy and when I could have done it. And I was like, no, 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 you do it. Thinking like, you're going to suck. This is not going to be great. Oh no, it turned out to be perfect. And it was a great song and everyone loved it. And you're like, damn it. I wanted to do that. That's all I can think of. Concert Pack 101. Yes, Concert Pack 101. A roach crip. Perfect. It'll have to have a feather on it though. It has to be a roach clip with like a little leather strap and a big long fluffy feather. That's very 70s vibe. We used to win those on the boardwalk, playing games on the boardwalk. We would play the prize wheels and all these things on the boardwalk as kids. And yes, a lot of the prizes were definitely geared toward the age group of, and believe it or not, you could win packs of cigarettes and cartons of cigarettes back in the day. And yes, roach crips were one of those things as well. So yes, indeed. 1974, Bachman-Turner Overdrive went to number 1 with You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet on the U.S. singles chart. Randy Bachman stuttered through the lyrics, if you ever heard the song, on the demo recording. And it was a private joke about his brother Gary, who had a speech impediment. So basically, he was mocking his brother's stutter by doing it on the record. Well, apparently the record label liked the stutter version better, and that's actually the one that they released in the version. If you ever hear Bachman-Turner Overdrive singing There Ain't Seen Nothing Yet, where he's stuttering. So that was intentional, and basically it was a private joke, but he was basically mocking his brother's speech impediment. So I don't know how I feel about that. I was like, wait, really? Interesting. You might get the Jackass of the Night award for that one, Douche of the night there, Mr. Bachman-Turner, because that seems like, I don't know, sure, it's a private joke, but still, you were mocking him for stuttering. And the record label was like, oh, that's great. We love that. I don't know. Did they know it was a joke, or did they just like the version better? I mean, it fits. I don't know if it would work as well without that, but I could have gone my whole life without knowing that it was an intentional mocking him of it thing. That's just me. Right. But baby, you ain't seen nothing yet. Exactly. Yes, exactly. Paul Simon has done just fine. I just thought he regretted it later. I'm like, well, yeah, probably because he was like, damn it, Art, you bastard. You got the Grammy. I wanted it. 1976, Tom Petty releases his debut album, and it's basically received to little and no attention in the U.S. Following a UK tour, it climbed to 24 in the UK on their album chart. And the single, Anything Rock and Roll, becomes a hit in the UK. After nearly a year, though, with many positive reviews by critics alike, it finally charted in the U.S. album at number 55 in 1978 and went gold finally, meaning they sold 500,000 units. But it took 2 years for Tom Petty's first album to make any kind of impact in the U.S. market. 1985, the number 1 single, it was the Miami Vice theme by Jan Hammer. It went to number 5 in the UK. I did have to listen to it. I was like, really? I was like, this wasn't the number 1 song on this day in 1985? I'm like, all right. I thought that was like Back to the Future was released. It should have been something Back to the Future. But guess, Miami Vice, more power to him. Good old Don Johnson. 1990, Willie Nelson had all of his bank accounts and all of his real estate confiscated by the IRS. Apparently, Willie owed the IRS $16 million in back taxes. $16 million. I mean, that's Willie saying, government's not going to take my money. Well, apparently they were like, government's going to take your money. $16 million. His lawyers fought it, and they did get it knocked down to $6 million to pay it in cash. That was still too much for Willie, even though he was the most bankable country star of his day, he still did not have the $6 million in cash. So they forfeited some of his assets. I mean, that's, I guess, what happens if you're not going to pay the government, Willie. That's why he probably is still touring to pay that $16 million off. I don't think Paul has those problems, but he made lots of money last night on his tour. We were doing the math. $500 a ticket, 20,000 tickets, $10 million, even with expenses. Yeah, he still made a little bit of jack last night. You got to figure. 1991, Prince, the man, the myth, the symbol, started a 2-week run at number 1 on the U.S. singles chart with Cream. It went to number 15 in the UK. 1991, Richard Marx. I had to listen to a couple of songs. I knew the name, but I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I know a couple of those songs. Richard Marx played 5 cities in one day. I guess he started by doing, it was called a rush in, rush out day. He started and did a street performance in Baltimore, and then he went to New York City. He went then to Cleveland, then Chicago, and then chased to Sunset and did it in the Burbank airport. I guess he couldn't get any further than before the day ended. He only got as far as the airport. He couldn't make it into LA itself. But yes, he did 5 performances, street performances in one day. I was trying to see if that was a record. 5 major cities like that. I could not find if that was the record. I do remember we talked about there was a record by one of the artists that did the 5 countries or continents in one day. I think it was they did like, or was it the continents or countries, something, but they did like 5 countries in one day. A little bit different, or 3. I don't remember. 1993, Dave Matthews Band releases her debut album, Remember 2 Things. Now, the only 2 things that I think Dave Matthews needs to remember is, A, don't dump 800 pounds of shit out of your bus in Chicago, and B, don't dump 800 pounds of shit in Chicago on a bridge onto a sightseeing boat down below you. There's the 2 things to remember. That happened in August of 2004. I did look it up because I was like, I remember doing that. It was on the Kinsey Bridge, and none of the passengers sued, it didn't say. They got fined like $200,000. The bus driver got fired immediately. They donated money to the Clean River Act and a bunch of other stuff. But I would have been like not happy as a passenger to have 800 pounds of poop dropped on me. I probably would have at some point been like, yeah, we're suing you. We're going to have a class action suit and sue your dumbass for millions because, that's just not cool. But yes, the black water from the bus dumped on your heads. That would be the 2 things to remember. Don't do that, Dave Matthews. Speaking of don't do things, 1996, Liam Gallagher of Oasis notably was what? He was arrested again after he was stopped by police in London's Oxford Street. Why was he stopped? And charged with possession of a Class A controlled substance. I did look it up because I was like, what is a Class A controlled substance in the UK? Similar to America, it's either heroin, cocaine, MDMA, LSD, mushrooms, or like methadone. So what's your guess? I'm guessing it was coke. I don't see Liam as a heroin addict. I think he'd be like wanka, but he probably was doing some coke. That's what I would guess. That's what it seems like. Liam would be that type of an individual that have cocaine on him. But they did not say what it was particularly, just a Class A narcotic. 1997, Paul Weller was arrested in France and spent the night in jail for busting up his hotel room. I don't know why bands do that. The Hyatt in Los Angeles on Sunset Strip was called the Riot House because like Led Zeppelin trashed rooms and the Who trashed rooms and a bunch of other things. I stayed at the Riot House. It's still called that. It's the Hyatt on Sunset. But yeah, it's the Riot House. But anyway, Weller's record label had to pay like $7,000 to cover the damages. He was released the next day with no further charges. But yeah, I mean, what are you doing to trash a hotel room to make $7,000 worth of damage. I mean, the walls are usually concrete, so you lighting the bed on fire, you're throwing the TV against the wall. What exactly are you doing, and why? That's the other thing. Why do you trash your own home, or are you trashing like a hotel room? I don't understand. That one I've never kind of understood, the whole trashing the hotel. Like, don't you have to sleep there and wake up on the floor, or what is the reasoning behind that? Just me. 2016, David Bowie retrospective show at the Victoria and Albert Museum in London. Had so much foot traffic, it was officially the most successful touring exhibit in the 164-year history of this prestigious thing, this place. With over 500,000 visitors. David Bowie is at this site, and over 300,000 in London alone made this the largest touring exhibition ever in history for an artist. So, yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, I guess it was right after his death in 2016, so that added a lot of popularity to it. Even though about 300,000 did it before he died in 2013. That was sort of near the end anyway. But no one knew that. He kept his cancer a secret from everybody until, of course, he didn't. 2023, Tracy Chapman's 35-year-old song, Fast Cars, was named both the song and the single of the year at the CMA Association Awards, the Country Music Awards. Apparently, Luke Combs reached number 2 with that song. And the milestone was that Chapman was then the very first black artist, writer, songwriter to win the year's awards by the CMA in the 57-year history of the Country Music Awards. So, good old Tracy Chapman. She gets the Day Award for that one. Hotel room trash. They have too much money. There's no such thing as bad press. I don't know. Yes, Willie Nelson definitely has a roach cripper too. Without a doubt, Willie Nelson has a couple of those. I am definitely agreeing with that one, Todd. There's lots of roach crips in good old Willie Nelson's repertoire. Born on this day, Hedy Lamarr. And it's H-E-D-Y, not Headley, because that was from Blazing Saddles. It was Headley. Roger Corman was Hedy Lamarr. I just watched that the other night. The movie's just so funny. Not politically correct these days, but it's still too damn funny. Just, when the sheriff rides into town. Oh, man. Born on this day, Lou Ferrigno, who was the Incredible Hulk with Bill Bixby as the normal guy. Lou Ferrigno was the big, bulky, Incredible Hulk guy. I got to meet Lou Ferrigno at an Arnold Schwarzenegger thing when I met Arnold, one of the times I met Arnold many years ago. Lou Ferrigno was definitely a big guy. He's deaf, too. He's very hard of hearing. But he was, super nice, but gigantic. He definitely was the Incredible Hulk. And I was like, dude, you are just massive. Like, even though, he still wasn't in that scene, he was still a big, pumped guy. Like, he was a lot taller than I thought, because Arnold's not very tall. I'm taller than Arnold, but Ferrigno was tall. He was a, big, like, whoa, bro, you are big. Speaking of big, Chris Jericho, born today, WWE wrestler dude and singer. Mary Travers of Peter, Paul, and Mary, birthday today. And Tom Fogerty of Creedence Clearwater Revival. Man, I am just having stumbly words tonight. I need to drink more liquid. Tom Fogerty, John Fogerty's younger brother, who died in 1990, who was in the band CCR. Tom Fogerty. The only person I found of any real consequence that died on this day was Ed Norton, Art Carney from the Honeymooners. Norton, bang zoom to the moon, says Jackie Gleason. Ed Norton. The honeymooners. Not even close to politically correct. No, I know. I understand that. Not even close. I'm just going to avoid that like the plague if I can. Don't need to do that. Do not need to do that. So, all right. So that was episode 162 of the Randsanity episodes. So we talked about Heinz. That. We talked about notifications, so turn them on. We talked about likes. I look at these likes. I don't want to end the stream yet, so stop ending the stream by dropping my books on it. Harvey Korman, Cleavon Little, Mel Brooks, one of the funniest ever. Yes, it was absolutely. It's Cleavon Little. That's, excuse me while I whip this out. Yes, that was a very funny movie. So if you've never seen Blazing Saddles, highly recommended. Watch it, but prepare to be offended if you're easily offended by crass humor. Because it's definitely crass. That's the word I will use to describe it today. So, all right. So Sunday night, everyone has to work tomorrow. It's not a holiday. I think it's a holiday coming up, though. Isn't it Veterans Day coming up here soon? November. That's next week, I think. I think that's next week, Monday or Tuesday is Veterans Day. Or I don't know. What are we going to call it now? Are we calling it something that's not Veterans Day? I don't know. I can't keep up with everything being changed. That's just the way it works. Something will be changed. Anyway, I'm going to tape my finger with something. I found some red electrical tape, but I think that'll be a little too garish. So if I could just get some, put a popsicle stick underneath it or something and wrap it, just so I stop banging on stuff. I'm too old for this crap. Smashing my fingers. Not great. Anyway, so Sunday night, go do your thing. Get some sleep. You got Monday to do. And I will try and get a video uploaded. Jesus. I will try and get the video uploaded and be able to show it to you tomorrow. And we'll talk about the building and what's left and what's happening and everything else. And then I should have my list of stuff that will be left for sale or giveaway or auction, or I don't even know anymore. I'm just kind of over it. It's just 22 months of this has been long enough. Just put it out of its misery, including myself. Just done with it. Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate all the great engagement tonight. Mel Brooks is doing Spaceballs too. Can't wait to see it. Absolutely. Dark Helmet. Appreciate the engagement. Appreciate all the appearances. We'll do this again tomorrow, but completely, absolutely, and totally different. And I'll try and be hydrated so that I'm not stumbling over every word that comes out of my mouth. At least it's live and I'm not AI, because it wouldn't make such mistakes. It would just lie to you and tell you things that are fabricated. Just saying. All right. On that note, we will say thank you. Grateful for it. And we will, in fact, fade to black. And away we go. Later, tater, don't be a hater. Only enjoy and be a real skater.